Hello, viewers. Welcome back to my channel. And there are two known faces for you already, me and Raj from Melbourne. We did cover earlier versions of the Boxing Day test, and lot were at stake for India to sort of really make a statement at Sydney. But we are sitting here right now where India have handed over the series defeat, and then Australians have retained the Border Gavaskar trophy. So, what is your first take on the series per se, Raj? Over to you.
Look, slightly closer than the overall score.
Hmm.
It's a 3-1 defeat for India. When I say closer, definitely Melbourne is one game where India let it slip
Yeah,
due to mainly due to the batting lack of batting discipline in the second innings,
yeah.
where India had a clear chance. So that was one thing, and also how they ended up bowling.
Mhm.
So Australia did well there, and it did extremely well at the SCG to
Yeah,
not lose their nerve. Because see, what we discussed in the last couple of uh, you know
yeah.
recordings that we did was that it's a mindset, which
Correct.
is the key difference.
Yeah,
Uh, yes, the Australian side is, I would say, seems to be a bit more fitter, more athletic. If that part of the game is looked at, they haven't had as many injuries except for Hazelwood. We had,
mm.
we had an injury with Bumrah in this final game. So they've been
Yeah,
fitter of the two sides. They've been better at the fielding.
yeah,
They've been better at the bowling changes. They've had the luxury of having, Scott Boland as the third change, as the
yeah,
third bowler, which was a real luxury which India did not have, because I think they missed a trick with trying too many things with Harshit Rana and then again with Akashdeep, whereas
yeah.
Prasanth Krishna has proven to be the one to use on these tracks, at least the bouncy pitches.
Yeah, one point I would make is see, with respect to trying out different bowlers for different pitches and all that, the earlier BGT series, whoever came in as new bowler additionally into the side, even there were some of the premier bowlers also not featuring, but then people kept on stepping up and then elevating their performance. And there is definitely a difference in the leadership in terms of Bumrah leading the side in the first test match, showing a lot of confidence to his fellow bowlers, and then
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma coming in, completely relying on Bumrah alone. We did call out during the second or third test also that Bumrah is being overbowled, and and it came at the right moment when he was absolutely needed the most. He went out of injury, and then the series uh, probably could have been a different story also. So I mentioned a lot of points in my statements there, but then there is a captain's trust in all the bowlers. There is new bowlers stepping up, the second or third wing set of fast bowlers who are not backing Bumrah. Too many factors went wrong, but this is just one side of the story. We have to also mention the batting is a complete failure in this BGT series. What
Yeah,
is your
I,
view?
I think I think from both sides, not just Australia equally struggled. Uh,
Yeah,
Today, I think in this test match, you saw Steve Smith, who scored 200s in the series so far. He came and he could not get his 38 runs to get to 10,000 runs.
yeah, that would have been an event.
It would have been an event. It's a select, elite, select group.
Yeah.
See, one of the most important aspects, I think, was the two sides. Well, Australia proved to be a better balanced side.
Correct.
Uh, who captained Australia in all five Test matches?
Mm.
Pat Cummins. Who
Yeah.
captained India in the five Test matches? So we had
Hmm.
three captains. We had Bumrah.
On-field captain also.
Yeah, Bumrah. Then we had well in this Test match mainly it has been Kohli for almost
Yeah.
2 days.
Agreed.
So too many changes to the side,
Mm.
even from a bowling side. They should have arrived at what is our preferred 11, and we are going to stick with it. It's not a question of experimentation. This is not a tour you experiment with. You go to Zimbabwe and Bangladesh, maybe, and Sri Lanka. Now, I think
Yeah.
even a Bangladesh would give India a pretty tough fight in Bangladesh
Agreed.
if India travels there.
But I have a
Um,
question for you. I'm sorry to cut you there.
no,
Okay.
no,
See, last series there were quite a few changes, but then there was only one captain. Of course, Virat Kohli after the first Test match or the second Test match, he's moved out. MCG, and then Sydney, and then Brisbane. You
yeah,
know,
it was
it was
the
only
selection.
Ajingira. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
but
was the
then
selection. Like this tour, we did not have players, test batsmen, the caliber of maybe Pujara and Rahane.
got it.
The coal mines, and I think given the example of Pat Cummins as the captain, being despite being a bowler,
Yeah,
uh, it's different for Bumrah because Bumrah is using a very different bowling action
correct.
to Pat Cummins. There's a lot. His it taxes his body a lot more,
Yeah.
and I don't think thrusting captaincy on Bumrah would be an answer for India.
Hmm. We'll come to that. What is the
Yeah,
way
yeah,
forward? But then,
yeah.
still
But
talking
if
about the
there is one more point which
yeah,
I think an analyst I really um value and admire, that's Sunil Gavaskar. At the
yeah.
beginning of the series, he has said in
Hmm.
an interview that if Bumrah is captain in the first match, he should be captain for the series.
That was a great call.
So that was a
Yes.
great call. Now it took three more test matches for Rohit Sharma to make that call. So what makes a person a champion cricketer or a champion captain or a champion athlete is that
Yeah.
if they get advice from other champions who are known, uh,
Yeah.
especially telling them about their blind spots, they should take that advice on.
Correct.
It's a
Point taken.
very key, because if you don't take feedback, which is what is the challenge, because I
Yeah.
think now Gavaskar has gone on record because he doesn't have an official role other than being a cricket commentator and observer about
Yeah.
Kohli's foot movement on the in the crease. So about his batting stance, his foot movement, simple things, but
Yeah.
this is where the feedback has to be taken. And I think the
Right.
entire Indian team batted slightly better in the
Hmm.
uh, on a very difficult pitch in the second innings by going and batting in the crease. They
Yeah.
looked a lot more assured, except for the pitch proved to be quite difficult to play.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very, very unusual Sydney wicket. It
Yeah,
never used to be, such a green top. And then through the 3 days, bowlers were in terrific rhythm. All they have to do is drop it at a particular fuller length, allow,
yeah.
the pitch to do the favors for the bowling unit. But having said that, let's talk about Rishabh Pant's innings. Would that the stand out as a probably the best way to play in this wicket conditions? What is your take on that?
It proved to be the blueprint. He is the top
Right?
scorer amongst the two
Yeah,
sides in the across the four innings.
yeah.
So I would say this is where India, and if you see
Hmm.
Jaiswal scored four boundaries in the first over. He
Yeah.
was very fortunate. Stark was off his game, and he got those four boundaries, which was, I think his score was 22, and he got 16 of those runs in that first over. He should have just
Yeah.
kept going. This is
Correct.
where Rishabh Pant, after he
Mm.
was spent so much time in the first innings scoring his 40 runs and got hit 11 times on the body, he learned. Firstly, he did not throw his wicket away. I
Yeah.
would say, like the only way I would say he did throw his wicket away, but he didn't,
Yeah.
was that he did not go for that shot. He was caught behind in a very, what would be termed a soft dismissal.
Correct.
So I think Rishabh Pant clearly painted the blueprint for what followed
Mm.
with, I think, at least Nitish Reddy tried, but it was too early. So you need to get in first, where
Mm.
some body blows,
Yeah.
and once you get in, you need to play your shots. I think this is where, honestly, today Jadeja and Washington Sundar
Washington
miss
Sundar. Yeah.
miss
Mr.
the
Break.
miss their opportunity, because I think both of them have the stroke play capability. They have
Correct.
played on pretty difficult wickets in the past. Washington Sundar has played a great innings
Innings at Gaba.
at the Gabba
Yeah.
last tour. Jadeja is a veteran. He
Yeah.
That's what, with the Kohli, uh, Jadeja, Rohit Sharma,
Yeah.
three batsmen. Only Kohli scored 100. We missed contributions from Rohit Sharma and Jadeja, because this is absolutely their last test tour to Australia. I don't think Kohli can come back
Mm. Point noted.
in
What
two or
about
three
KL
years.
Rahul? What about KL Rahul's approach in these two innings?
I think his approach was maligned by. I mean, there's some games, some of the matches that he performed well. He knew
Yeah.
he was opening, and then he was shunted after that, pretty
See,
unceremoniously.
I'm going to be harsh on him. None of those innings actually proved any significance to the series per se. I'm simply not talking about the results as such. He cannot be the person who can throw away his starts. From that angle, I'm mentioning this.
Yeah,
Considering the senior who has done it in the past, he has got hundreds in Australia, where in the prior tours, but 70s, 50s, 30s. That's not what you expect out of a senior, do you?
not at all. So the question should be followed by another question saying, what is India's uh, opening stocks like? If it's not KL Rahul, and if it's definitely not Rohit Sharma at the moment,
For sure.
who is going to give Jaiswal the accompaniment?
Yeah.
Who is there? Anybody in the current team, in the current 17, 18 touring squad, that you can think could be an opener?
Hmm.
Somebody
See,
who can bat long?
yeah, yeah, definitely. See, that should be a skill also for Test cricket. It cannot be the template what these guys followed for white ball format. And I'm glad that Abhimanyu Ishwaran has come into the ranks for the next WTC cycle at least. Give him a long rope and then fix a slot for the people. It cannot be a
Yeah.
scenario, at least in Test cricket, it cannot be a scenario where people can be the floaters running from number 1 to number 7. And then we talked about how technically equipped Nitish Kumar Reddy is. Can he move up the order? Those are all the calls.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully,
I
fingers
think
crossed.
I think after
We,
MCG, the first
yeah,
innings, he was not utilized. Reddy was not utilized properly at all. He was
correct.
still batting way too low for his capability. He's exhibited his confidence. He should not have been batting that low. Even for that matter, Sundar should have been batting above Jadeja. He's proven it.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
he had a better batting performance out of the two spinning all rounders, you can say.
yeah.
And this is another challenge for India, is that
Hmm.
uh, they have lost. to New Zealand at home on spinning tracks.
Yeah,
So if they can't play bouncy tracks in Australia, they can't play spinning tracks at home. They can definitely not play, seaming and sort of swinging tracks in England.
correct.
Uh, where are they going to play? Well, so a lot of
Point
challenges,
taken.
challenging questions. So they have to really
Yeah,
go back to the drawing board, I guess.
correct.
Uh,
Now, from I have a couple of questions to look at Australia's side, how they sort of came with their strategies and then performed. I think each and every one in that team contributed at crucial
yeah,
junctures, and that's when a series could be won in
yeah,
tough conditions. Even for Australia, it is tough conditions because you are facing the legendary bowling acumen of Bumrah, right? I mean, his stats speaks. He's compared to the likes of the greats, legends who have actually played Test cricket and then
yeah.
performed. Average is amazing. Strike rate is amazing. I mean, 32 wickets in the
Yep.
series. Undoubtedly, man of the
See,
series for India. Yeah,
for sure. Look, Bumrah proved to be the best bowler in the two sides. He
agreed.
is the he is one of the best bowlers in world cricket right now. I'm not saying he's the best bowler. He's one of the best bowlers.
Yeah,
Um, and what what is required by the board, and
yeah.
the selectors and the team management is to handle him really, carefully. They can't
Not like
say,
the way he got handled here in this series.
yeah, 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 not like how, and
Overboard.
it got handled poorly because at the end there was never enough runs to play on the board, and he was coming back to bowl after very short times, sitting out.
Yeah,
So that was a real challenge. He bowled a lot of. He had a high workload.
yeah.
So yeah, so I think this is a real lesson that okay, we have a champion bowler, to say that, like a pace bowler who is going to win a series. We
Yeah,
almost did. We should have won it at the MCG. India should have
correct.
won it, and it would be a good result then if India did win that. But
Yeah,
they couldn't. So 3-1 it is.
yeah.
So yeah, Bumrah is somebody they have to really think carefully about, and I think you put out a post saying who should
Hmm.
concentrate on red ball cricket. Well,
Yeah.
that's post is one which is, if you ask those players to just
Hmm.
focus on red ball cricket, what about their livelihood? Like
No,
there's
no,
no
no.
money in red ball cricket. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the challenge of the moment for world cricket is that it should be
More than
celebrated and rewarded at the same time.
correct. No, so that is where, maybe BCCI can revisit how they sign the contracts. Test cricket performance should be the ultimate driving factor for money. Yeah, I mean, IPL has become too big to even, my point is so invalid.
Yeah.
I do, but still, I want to
No,
call
no, no.
spade a
It's
spade.
not
Yeah,
invalid. See, this
yeah,
series
that's
had, you can imagine this series in Australia has, they are estimating 8.5 lakh people came to the stadiums.
correct. Yeah,
Even India can't fill that for test matches. So this is what, because of
yeah,
the challenges of logistics, like if a test match is in Mohali, they don't even
yeah,
have proper transport.
yeah,
So I think the richest cricket board in the world has to look at itself
yeah.
rather than only blame the 11 on the field.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine a full, crowd backing India in India. Even against New Zealand, it would make a difference.
yeah. But there also Pat Cummins came and shut everyone in the ODI World Cup. But then see,
Yeah, yeah,
what the point that I'm trying to drive here is cricket should be the ultimatum, and I think we can learn from Australian cricket as to how to put cricket as a priority over all the heroisms. We have talked enough about it, Raj. Look
Mm.
at the selection they made in Sydney Test match. Bew Webster,
Yeah,
the way he came and played in both the innings, Mitchell Marsh took brilliant catches. No one were emotionally upbeat about it. He was dropped because of the performance. Bew Webster came and took the spot and then said, "It is mine," right? That is the way it should be. And I think Indian cricket is far, far behind in these aspects. And then, all the tantrums which they throw to sort of capture the PRs and the broadcasters' view and attention. I think it has really gone overboard. I would like to mention one another episode here. There is an ongoing test match. Lunchtime, India gain an upper hand, and the broadcasting team called Rohit Sharma provided a space to sort of explain himself why he is not there in the playing 11. And he
yeah,
comes up and, uh, the hero he is 6 months before he has won the T20 World Cup. All that brand image needs to be maintained. That was the clear focus, right? When he came and bragged
yeah,
about
yeah. So
how
that's
he is going to
PR,
continue in future.
and
Ridiculous.
yeah, that should be looked at quite severely by the
Yeah.
board. But I think they are too distracted by simply,
Mhm.
like, because I think this series with ACB has made a lot of money, BCCI has made more money.
Correct.
So if it's not a 50-50 split between ACB and BCCI for the revenue stakes, it's more
Yeah.
like 70-30. And even ACB is still happy with the 30 because that is much more than they would ever make. The So I think
Yeah.
this is what the difference is. But if you want to keep Test cricket alive in
Yeah.
India, India has to do well. India started doing poorly at home, losing to New Zealand, who is a much from
Yeah.
touring to touring. If India is losing to New Zealand in New Zealand on swinging conditions, it's a different
Correct.
story.
Yeah.
India's only won the one series in New Zealand, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, see, nobody is feeling the pinch in that dressing room because, they are too much worried about the current series, agreed, and all that. But is there really a postmortem done? And, keeping the Indian cricket interest in mind, are they taking the right calls for the future? This is the
yeah,
time, right? WTC is off now. You are out. Australia have qualified for the finals. Sri Lanka series is also immaterial. Steve Smith can focus on his 10,000 runs there. There
yeah. I
can be
think
other
there's talk
things.
of Pat Cummins not even going for the New Sri Lanka series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's a news.
yeah.
All right.
He probably won't even go. So it'll be interesting to
Hmm.
see who they hand the Test captaincy to be. And I think
They're
if
already thinking forward then because
yeah,
for
yeah,
the next
because
WTC cycle. Yeah.
yeah, Pat Cummins being in Sri Lanka is of no use to him, according to them. So they're saying focus on the World Test Championship and give the
Yeah.
captaincy to someone like Travis Head,
Oh, okay. There are talks.
and
Amazing.
get some
Amazing.
consistency out of that.
Yeah.
So
See, I think these
that
are all
is
the
the sort
aspects
of
we can learn.
the difference is Rohit Sharma was the one who ultimately opted out of this
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
Pat Cummins is opting out of the entire Sri Lanka series. So how much more focus? Because see, if you have to think
Yeah.
about the Australian population is equal to the population of uh, Mumbai, basically,
Correct. Correct.
with 28 million
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
if Mumbai in the past could produce 11 which could represent India really well,
Yeah.
it can't anymore.
All right. See, some
So
of the pointers we are raising here might definitely, disturb the fan clubs in a lot of different ways. But then I think we are speaking, keeping solely the interest of Indian cricket in mind, and what are all
yeah,
the things that they could learn from the world cricket, Australian cricket, for
absolutely.
example.
See,
Yeah.
Australia has clearly focused more on quality because
Yeah.
while they have drawn out one wild card with Sam Constance getting the debutant cap, who is 19 years old. Bo
Yeah.
Webster is 31 years old. So it's imagine
So,
if a 31-year-old is like Siraj. Imagine if they call Siraj to be the debutant.
yeah.
Yeah, it won't really happen like that.
Yeah.
In India, they blood them young, they use them, and then they throw them. As per
Correct.
what I have observed watching cricket,
Yeah.
in India for four plus decades, is
Correct.
that's the typical format. A bit of that
Yeah.
has happened in Australia,
Yeah.
like Nathan McSweeney. I
Yeah.
think he was very poorly treated. He should have been
No,
there, but
see, my instinct says this, okay? Sam Constars was a strategy played on played on by Australia against Indians. He definitely plays like a number 10, to be very honest. I did post an article about his
mm,
future. Probably he's not going to be there in Test cricket for long.
yeah,
The strategy did work, right? Because there are schoolboys in Indian cricket like Virat Kohli who went and shouldered. He is such a legend of the game, um, considering his overall achievement. But then to stoop down to that level, so
yeah, but that's
Australia
not.
pricked the
Uh,
ego of
but yeah,
certain
but it's
seniors.
not even worth a discussion because shoulder
Far from,
charging or bodily contact in cricket is not cricket.
yeah,
Cricket is when you use the equipment, the ball and the
yeah,
bat, and you do your thing. But even talking to each other, I don't think it's really part of cricket because
yeah,
it happens, but it rarely pays off.
exactly, yeah.
It just creates more viewership and bad blood.
No, maybe that is where, see, my worst fear is probably it has gone to the other side where that is the only driving factor in,
Yeah, like
cricket these days.
when you think about it,
Hmm.
one of the best Test series,
Yeah,
and one of the most memorable ones that I've witnessed has been when India toured Pakistan in 2003.
lovely. Good one.
You should have seen the praise that the Indian cricket team received, the welcome they
Correct.
received.
Yeah.
Uh, Even bowlers like Balaji, they were being celebrated. It was, a really good series, and there was
Yeah.
no one was talking to each other like this. No one was
Yeah.
shoulder charging each other.
Yeah.
You would expect that in a India Pakistan sort of a series, but there was none of that. It was a really good series, and I think that was probably the last time India's toward Pakistan, for example.
I
So
thought you're going to mention the Ashes of 2003, or for that matter,
yeah,
Australia
yeah, yeah.
with
Look, I
Steve
was
Waugh
mentioning
touring India.
no, no, I was mentioning a series which I truly found to be really memorable for many reasons.
Good one.
Uh, yeah, yeah, it was the India Pakistan series in Pakistan, which was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Point noted.
Which shows that the two countries can be at each other's at loggerheads,
Yeah.
but still have a good series. As India, Australia are pretty friendly with each other overall, and there's
Yeah.
more bad blood on the pitch. So yeah. But so, having said that, the Indian team is in transition. Every world cricket team is in transition. There's no one who's feeling
Yeah.
settled. Australia is now feeling a lot more settled because of performances, but they will make changes to the side because they know that this side is not the side probably for Sri Lanka. They will rest a few key players.
Yeah, see, that's where I would like to take the discussion forward for our
Mm.
point of views right now. Do you think that sort of 10 years, what India sort of dominated in Border Gavaskar trophies, both home as well as away? Now, after this series defeat or after this series victory, do you think some of the players from Australia would call it off and then say signing off or something like that? There have been talks about Usman Khawaja. Nathan Lyon, what is his future?
He is the number one spinner in Australia, and he's not going anywhere.
Point. Okay.
This
How
this
about
series was a this series was an anomaly for all spinners, and none of the spinners did anything major.
correct?
But
Yeah.
I think he's going to remain there for the near future. I think any at least 2 more years. I think he's hungry enough to want to go past 700 wickets,
Okay.
which will take him good part of 3 years. That's my guess.
All right.
Yeah, he's the best
So
spinner Australia has. So
fair enough.
yeah,
All right. So I think we are more or less covered all the points. Hopefully, India realizes that two series defeat back to back, one home, one away, would certainly call for chopping off some heads, or asking players to get back to their domestic seasons, fine tune their skills, and then come back into the test squad. But um, I doubt it is going to happen.
who
I
whose head
wish
whose head would you wish for?
Virat Kohli 100%.
Yeah, I would go
I mean,
a step. I would go a step above and say it should start from the coach.
point taken. Let's see. See
Yeah,
if it is going to be something like uh, coach going off, he should also be given a fair trial with a new team, new captain for the test format at least, and then see how he
I
fares.
think that he's had the trilogy of losing the one day series to Sri Lanka,
Yeah,
the test series to New Zealand at home, and the away series in a very, I mean,
yeah,
the dressing room is fractured, and
yeah,
that's why players like Rohit Sharma have to resort to PR rather than. So I think so. Leadership is not just the captain of the team or Kohli. I think it needs to be really looked at. And the challenge is when you have political appointments to boards of cricket, political
yeah,
appointments to dressing rooms as coaches. It is not good. It is not going to be good for Indian cricket, and it's in a real jam right now. And it's not a simple solution of getting new youngsters in, on blooding them, on giving them opportunities, or being consistent with the 11.
yeah.
When the they say there's a saying that the fish rots from the head. So yeah, when you cannot be fixing the symptoms when the root
Yeah,
cause is not fixed. And we covered this
fair
in
enough.
the previous talk when we
Correct.
talked about the board, the team management, and the selection. Yeah,
So with that point, let's call it a wrap for covering the Border Gavaskar series. Hopefully, there would be some positive changes for the next WTC cycle for Indian cricket. Some of the good youngsters are also there.
yeah.
Probably a change in captain. Let's wait and watch how things unfold. But yeah, two
I would,
series back to back
yeah,
losses, home and away, is not a good sign.
absolutely. I would love to see some comments from your viewers, and maybe you can answer them
Yes,
eventually. So I think that would be
definitely.
good
Yeah,
because you've had good viewership of these videos.
yeah,
We've made some, like you said, we are going to make some really blunt points. My
yeah.
my blunt point is that this is the challenge, that who will tell the emperor they are naked?
Good one, Raj.
Mm.
Let's wait what the viewers have to comment, and I'll make it interactive. Thank you. Thanks for your
Perfect.
time. Let's
Yeah.
let's call it a wrap.